Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, what I was going to tell you about tonight was our dog. When I say our dog, I mean my wife's dog. We have a dog called Snowball, and he's got a problem. He's got a personality problem. He really has. He's a dog that the wife got about 7 years ago, and the problem he's got is that he hates the sight of me. Now I hate the sight of him, but I wouldn't tell anybody that. You know, I mean, we just have this understanding between us that neither of us like one another. I'll tell you. I'll just give you a little instance, a little insight into what kind of a perverted mind he's got. And I mean this sincerely. He's a white poodle. And what happens, invariably, the wife is ironing my shirts, and she puts them on coat hangers when she's ironing them, and she hangs them on the door of the kitchen, just on the handle of the door, like, so they're just missing the floor. And our dog, somehow or other, I don't know how, but he knows which is a shirt and which is a blouse and whatnot, and he comes and cocks his leg up. He pees all over my... He's ruined every shirt I've ever had. And when we go out of a night, the wife and I perhaps we're going out for a drink somewhere, we now have to leave separately. I have to leave 10 minutes, quarter of an hour before her. That's true, because if he didn't, what happened in the past was that he used to throw himself at the front door. He used to be doing somersaults, barking and screaming. He doesn't bark like a normal dog. He can't growl. He has this high-pitched scream, this rah, rah, rah. Oh, it's terrible. And the neighbours want to know if we're killing the child or killing the dog or what, you know. Anyway, he's a bloody headbanger, he's an idiot. What would happen is we'd come home from wherever we'd been, you know, come in, you know, and you've had a few drinks and you're shattered, we go straight to bed. And I was waking up in the middle of the night to this horrible smell, honestly. Oh, terrible stink. And I'd switch the light on and have a, you know, what the hell's this smell? I could never find it. Anyway, the next morning, I used to notice my pillow was yellow. I didn't know this is gospel truth. My pillow used to be bright yellow. And what was happening was the dog was going upstairs when we went out and pissing all over my pillow. And he didn't do it once or twice. He did it every time we went out. So I said to the wife, before I knew what it was happening, I said, what are you washing the pillows in? She said, Daz. We always use Daz. I said, well, I think you should change. I said, because my pillows stink. Oh, she said, don't worry, you imagine it. I said, imagining it? It's full of piss, it's terrible. Anyway, we observed the dog, and yeah, that's what he was doing. We'd go out, you see, and I'd come back 10 minutes after, and he'd be shaking it on my pillow. So I had to fit these little locks to the bedroom door, and this is a gospel truth. Those locks are still there to this day because he can't trust a little rat. This is how he is. Another little instance, another little thing of what he did, not so long ago. You know, when the general election was on, you know, yeah, you're getting all these, you're getting the SDP and you're getting the Labour and the Liberal candidate and all the rest of it. They're on the door, aren't they, every other night, like, can we rely on you and all this craper. And I said to the wife, I said, listen, whoever brings back hanging, I'll vote for him. Because I was right, into it. I thought, it's time that something was done. If it would have been a bloody National Front or a communist, I would have voted for him, as long as we got hanging brought back. Anyway, it was this bleeding Tory man come, Brigadier General somebody, retired. And he knocked on the door, and I thought, well, I'll put him down right away. I said, how do you stand on hanging? He just started to answer me, and my leg went warm. Oh, gospel truth. I looked down, and the dirty little rat has cocked his back leg up, and he's peeing down my leg. Well, it's impossible. It's impossible to try and stand on your dignity when you're being pissed upon. So I thought, oh, well, knickers to it. Anyway, I got him in and tried to bounce him round the room and hit him, but you can never catch him, he's too bleeding clever for that. But anyway, that's the kind of dog he is. He's just a disgusting animal who doesn't like me and I don't like him, right? That's the end of it. Now, I've been getting earache now for some months about never taking the wife out at weekend. I get a bit of a weekend off and I want to watch the box. I want to watch University Challenge and all that. But the wife doesn't. We never go anywhere. I'm sick to death of it. The kids have never seen anywhere outside these four. Oh, Jesus, always the same. So I said, all right, this Sunday it was. I said, we'll go out. I said, don't give me any more earache. We'll have an afternoon out. We're not going without the dog. Oh, crap. We have to take him everywhere. So we got in the car, threw the dog in the back, and I thought, well, where can I take him? You know, I'm driving aimlessly. And we come to the East Lancs Road. That's the only road I know that goes for a long way that's straight. So we're starting. So we're going down there. And the bloody furry idiot is in the back, screaming down my ear. And I'm doing zigzags up the road because he keeps yelping down your ear. Just went at the wrong time. I'm going straight over the roundabouts and doing rounds when it should have been straight. Sick to bloody death of it. Anyway, eventually we ended up. We saw the cut-off for Ormskirk. Ormskirk. These bleeding vodkas that are doing it. So we shot down through Ormskirk. We ended up at Southport. Now, I don't know if any of you have been to Southport, but at Southport, besides having no seaside, but a lot of sand, they also have a zoo. Now, this zoo, and I mean this sincerely, should have been condemned 20 years ago. It's made up of rusty bars and planks of bleeding wood and dead parrots and Christ knows what. It's a load of rubbish, honestly. Anyway, we got out of the car on the car park and I'm looking round wondering where to go and trying to, I thought if I throw a stick far enough, the little rat might get lost or something, The kids are getting out and putting the lead on the dog and whatnot. And the wife's saying, all right, now where are we going? I suppose it'll be a cup of tea on the bloody front, will it? And, I thought, you can't win. You can't do anything right. I said, we'll find something to do, don't worry. And just then, a dirty big posh car pulled up at the side of us. Big Austin Westminster or something it was. And this couple got out she had a face like a stewed prune, bleeding right hatchet through. And the fellow that got out, he looked like Mark Sabre. I don't know if ever you remember Mark Sabre, but he always wore a white, a snow white Mac. He looked like, these rimless spectacles, Very smart fellow he was. Anyway, they got out and they're looking around like us, and I thought to myself, they don't know where to go neither, Anyway, we walked across and I saw the entrance Southport Zoo, little half-moon shaped thing, So we goes in there and I said, right, 2 and 2 halves. I never mentioned the dog. The dog, she couldn't see the dog this woman, she was knitting. Excuse me. So the dog just walked in with us and she just gave me the tickets. Well, we was walking around looking through the cages. There was a parrot that had mange or something falling off its perch. There was a couple of bleeding raccoons fast asleep in a car. It was completely uninteresting. I thought it was anyway, and I'm sure everybody else did. But about the 3rd or 4th cage up, it was just a cage, all made of rusty bars and bits of bleeding planks of wood. And there was an hitching rail like you have for horses in front of it in cowboy film. So we're all leant on that looking in. And inside the cage at ground level was these 2 chimpanzees. And they're just playing about with a bit of bread. And we stood looking at them and they're looking at us. They're bleeding boring, really. But one of these chimpanzees spots the dog. And it's got a piece of bread in its hand. And it keeps flicking a bit of bread towards the dog. Well, all stupid all. It's thick as pig shit. He has best hearts at home and pieces of steak and all that. Because she feeds him on all the best stuff. I'm on bleeding tins of hard spaghetti. He's on best steak. But anyway, that's another story. That's just my wife's perverted attitude. Anyway, he starts eating these bits of bread, you see. And I'm trying to be a bit clever like to wife and kids. I said, see that? One of man's cousins. One of the lower primates. I says, look at the intelligence there. He's trying to make friends with Snowball. And Snowball is responding by eating the bread. And as I'm saying that, the dog's getting nearer and nearer and nearer to the cage. Oh, Jesus. When I say cage, it was just like bars. Like them bars that they have in the westerns, they're about 3 foot wide. And suddenly a great big black hairy arm comes out, crump, and gets hold of the dog by the collar. Well, he lets out a big scream and a bloody bark. And it starts to pull him into the cage. So I thought, I'd have jumped. And I got hold of it, and I've got hold of the collar, and the bloody monkey's got hold of the collar. And I've got my foot against the bars, and I'm pulling the dog back, and I'm saying, help me, dog, help me. But she can't move. She's mesmerised. Well, the dog's screaming and shouting, and this bleeding monkey's going, ow, ow, ow. And I'm that bloody concerned trying to get the dog away from the bars. I never noticed the other one. The other one gets hold of my leg. Honestly, and it was trying to pull me into the cage. I couldn't believe it. My leg's going into the cage. Oh, I just all clutch marks around my leg. I had all these hand marks up and down me. Oh, fuck, bleeding hell, what am I going to do? I was frightened. I nearly had to break its fingers to get it off. I had to pull each finger off like that. Well, I pulled the dog out and I managed to get away. I said, you barmy bloody swine, if I ever see you going to hit a bleeding monkey's cage again. Oh, and it stood there all shaking and quivering and its bloody ears are back. Eyes look mad, you know. Well, I mean, it is mad anyway. But, fuck. I said to the wife, what the bleeding hell we brought this bloody stupid animal for? Ooh, I was up to here with it. So I could hear these people, you know. By now, there'd been a little crowd gathered round. And this posh fella and his wife, like, she's got a little clutch bag under her arm like that, you know. And I could hear her saying, stupid people bringing dogs. Yeah, I could hear her going on, you know. And I thought, it's not to do with you, missus, you know. My own bleeding business. I didn't say that, but that's what I felt like saying, you know. Oh, cheeky swine. Anyway, I thought, knickers to it. Come on. I thought, I'm not going out. I've paid the money to come in, like. So we walked on a bit further, like, and they had a giant panda or something. That was half dead, laying in a corner. Then they had a gazelle with a broken leg or something. There was nothing worth watching at all, you know. Anyway, we got to the last cage on the end of this row. And honestly, I'm not kidding you, there was about 3 ton of rust round it. All falling to bits, the bars was dead loose, all the screws was hanging out, bits of bleeding wood, patching it up. They should have closed that zoo down by now. I really believe it. And there it was, this big leopard. And it had half of a cow's arm or something in there, and it was, you know, dirty little yellow eyes it had, but it was a big swine. And its tail was lashing from side to side. So I'm trying to sneak past it. Because I thought, you know, I don't want any more trouble. Oh, Christ, the bleeding dog. It only stands up on its back legs and looks in. Well, the minute it's seen, it must have thought it was a cat, the silly bleeder. Oh, and it starts again. Well, this big bleeding leopard jumps up, threw its bones to one side. Oh, and it's rattling the bars. There was screws coming out, rust falling. I thought, the bleeding, all the wooden boards was going. I thought, Jesus Christ. I got hold of it. I said, "Cry out, daft swine, you'll get us all it." I mean, what have I done and all? I'll tell you what, if it could have got out, I would have bet the lot. I said to the wife, I said, for Christ's sake, get this bleeding animal away from me. She said, give him here. So I give him to the wife. I said, no. So there's all these big steps. He went up about 3 flights. So we ran up these steps. I heard her, don't worry, I heard her behind me, that bleeding woman again. He's inciting those animals. She's going on about as though I was inciting the pissing animals. Anyway, I thought, knickers to it. So we got up these steps, big wooden steps, and we came at the top of what looked like, to me, a giant bird cage. It must have been about 1,000 feet square. Massive it was, with these big bent bars going over the top. And laying across it was like these big logs of wood, you know, from either end. And running up and down these logs of wood was these bleeding big grey monkeys. And they call them gibbons. And they go whoop, 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 making this funny whooping noise. Hand over fist running along. And I'm saying, oh, bloody hell, I thought, I'll calm everybody down here, like, you know. Well, by now, the wife's got the dog in her hand. And the children are stood at the side of her, like, and I'm reading this thing. There's a little sign on showing you a map of Africa or somewhere. And I'm saying to the wife, like, I'm reading it and pretending I know it, like, because I've obscured her vision. I said, oh, these animals, I said, they come from the Gabon region. I said, they're very, very agile. I said, what they do, I said, they run up and down trees, crack coconuts between the back legs. Oh, they're fantastic. I said, and they're a very highly intelligent animal. They make signals to one another by making that whoop, 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 whooping noise, like. So she's dead interested, like. And at the same time, these other people are interested as well. And there's a Pakistani couple stood there. She's got all this, she's like a princess. Only a great big bolt through her nose with a diamond on, you know. A big spot on her eyebrow and a spot in the middle of her head. And he's there in a Savile Row suit, like, you know. And he's listening to what I'm saying, like, and keeps nodding his head in agreement, I thought. You know, it's great, that. And then old bleeding Snotty Nose comes up the thing, like this posh woman and her husband, and they're stood at the back, like, they all stood in a group. And I was enjoying it, I'll be honest with you. I was telling them all about it, saying how the next intelligent thing like to a chimpanzee. Only I didn't think them two were so bleeding intelligent that we'd saying earlier on. The ones that had tried to molest me in the cage. Anyway, we stood there and I've been finished telling them a little tale about it, thinking we're going to move on. Well, my wife's a bit stupid. No, she is, because instead of keeping the bleeding dog back like she should have done, she allows the stupid fool to start flapping its pissing ears and barking at these monkeys. Well, at first, they didn't take much notice. But after a bit, one dirty, big, bleeding monkey started to take a lot of attention. And it's got hold of the bars, and it's looking through, and it kept going, baring its teeth and making these grunting noises. It was going, arr. Well, that infuriated the idiot that I've got with me. And he's going, row, 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 row. Well, I'll tell you something about these monkeys. I don't know whether you've ever seen a gibbon, but they're all right from the front. No, when they turn round, they have got the most obscene ass you've ever seen in your life. Honestly. Oh, Christ. And it's halfway up the back. It's all red and crinkly. Oh, it really looks disgusting, honestly. You can see all the every part of it. Well, this bloody monkey that Snowball had infuriated, after a bit, it must have got a bit browned off with Snowball barking. It turned its back on us, and it lifted its tail up. And everybody's mesmerised. This is a gospel truth. Guess what it did? It suddenly went... A great stream of hot black shite emitted from its arse. Honestly. Well, it missed me. Hey, and it missed the dog. And it went all over this fella's Mac. His white Mac. He was covered in green and black shite from head to foot. Oh, gee, I can't tell you. He went bleeding mad. His wife went mad. She should have heard the things she was saying about me. As though I'd made it shite. I was 3 feet away the other direction. And I started to explain. I said, I said, it's not my... When I looked, the wife and the kids had gone. They'd shot along the bleeding catwalk with the dog, and they was on the other end. I was left alone, trying to explain why a monkey had shit upon this man. Well, she said, don't you move. Don't you move. She said, it's going to cost you a pretty pack. I said, I'd not shit on him. The bleeding... Hey, I'm not... The fella couldn't speak. His mouth was open, nothing was coming out. Well, she was off. And she come back with a fella. Little bloke, glasses on. A little hat like a traffic warden. Southport Zoo written round the front. He come run up the stairs. He says, have you been feeding? I said, I've not been feeding them. Have I been feeding them? I said, the bleeding monkey's been shiting on everybody at the walked. He said, somebody's been feeding them with grapes or something for that too. I said, they've not fed. I've not given him any grapes. I said, I've never had any bleeding grapes to give him. I said, in fact, I said, I've had nothing to do with it. Oh, this woman's called me a liar. She said that I was the one that had incited the leopard to try and break out. I'd had the chimpanzee. Oh, honestly, bloody reduced me to bleeding ashes, he did. Anyway, this fella said, well, you'll have to vacate the zoo. I said, I'm not vacating the zoo. I've paid to come in. He said, you'll have to get out. Where is that dog? I said, what dog? I said, I act a bit stupid. I know, he said, I've seen the bleeding dog. I said, well, the wife's got it. I said, it's only a pet poodle. It won't do anybody any harm. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm defending the bleeding dog now. And he's caused me all this trouble. Anyway, this little fella said, he took me on one side, He said, listen, pal. He said, I don't want any trouble. He said, I was having a nice calm day till you come in the zoo. He said, you've upset the chimps. You've drove the pissing leopard wild. I said, and you've got a fella shit up on. He said, wouldn't you be better going out? I said, I'll go out when I find a wife and kids. I'm not going out on my own. They won't know where I've gone. He said, why don't you go to the kiddies' playground? So I said, I didn't know he had a kiddies' playground. He said, go and sit in the kiddies' playground. I said, there's a sand pit there. He said, it can't get in any trouble there. So I said, all right, I'll go there. So I went down these steps, and I found the bloody coward, the wife, and the dog. And I said, we've got to go in the kiddies' playground. So she said, all right. So we went and sat in this sand pit. Well, we sat there talking, and I'm saying, I'll never bring the bastard out again. I hate the sight of it. I said, that's the last time I'll ever take you out anywhere, if that dog comes with us. I don't care if she would have divorced me, because I've had enough of the bleeding dog. I said, my life is in tatters. I feel a complete wreck, because every time I go out with you and a bleeding dog, I'm in trouble. And I don't think it's fair. But I can't stand it anymore. Look, I'm going grey overnight thinking of the bleeding dog and the trouble. Well, why are we talking like this? And I'm trying to sort of be friendly in my way and bring her round, just to let her see that there is another part to the story. She lets her silly get off the lead. Because she's a lunatic. She is. No, she's in league with the dog. I'm sure they're trying to send me mad between them. So the pissing dog, because he is like he is, he's a psychopath, you know, our dog. He runs round and round the sandpit, and in the corner of the sandpit, there's a dirty big tortoise shell, you know. It must have been 1,000 years old. It's as big as a bleeding piano. A great big thing, and all the kids are sliding off it. Oh, great. But he has to ruin the fun, doesn't he? Like he does everything else. He went and cocked his leg up, pissed all over the tortoise shell. So the kids can't, hey, Mum, Dad can't swing now, we can't slide. The dog's peed on. I said, oh, Christ, I hate him. I hate him. And I'm saying to the wife, he wants putting down. Either that or he wants his he wants his bladder cutting out because he's a disgusting pig. Oh, just then, he's got his head up the tortoise's arse is, you know, where its tail should be, like. He's got his head up there, like, and I'm saying to the wife, I hope he gets bloody stuck. I do, honest. I'll leave the bleeding thing here. And she's saying, don't be like that. We'll only take him out once a year. It's only because he's excited. I said, excited? Oh, bastard, he's near bleeding ruined Southport Zoo. And I said, he's ruined my day out anyway. So I said, all right, I said, I'll just forget about him. I was trying to get round her, really. Because we'd had a round way there with him going mad like. Just then, he goes to the front at Tortoise. Well, it's like a little archway. And he's got his head up there. I knew something had happened. Christ, have you ever seen a live tortoise 2,000 years old? Hey, I mean it. They've got like a beak, like an eagle's beak. Crunch! It was alive, and it got him by the ear. Oh, Jesus! I couldn't believe it! He's pulling him in. And I said, well, I'm not getting him out this time. Shite to the bleeding dog. I said, I'm going. I was willing to run off me on my own. Because I didn't want any more. Anyway, big tears come in her eyes. Oh, you'll have to get him out. Oh, I don't know where the tortoise eat dogs or not. I said, that's all right, dog. I said, I hope it snaps his bleeding head off, I do. So I grabbed it and I pulled the dog out and it's screaming and other people in the park are coming round by now. The kiddies' playground has never been fuller. There was people from all walks of the park come to see me rescued a rotten dog. It pulled a big V shape out of its ear. Still got it like that to this day. So I wrapped their lead round its neck. I didn't put it on. I near strangled it. I said, come here, you little white git. I'll bleeding kill you when I get you in the car. And I dragged it out of that zoo. And we all walked out. And we got onto the car park. I was not only sweating, my hands, I was trembling. I'm sure I'm going to get a bad heart through it. Honestly, I am. I hate the sight of the bleeding dog. And we got to the car, and I'd opened the back door and threw him in. I said, get him out of my sight. Put him in the boot. Whatever you do. And who should come up but this little Pakistani fella who'd been in the zoo. And his wife was stood about 5 yards back watching us like. And he come up and he said, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I must tell you, what a terrible animal. That's a terrible animal. I said, you're right there, pal. I said, I'm going to throw the bastard out when I get him on the East Lancs Road. They'll find a squash bleeding poodle somewhere. Oh, no, he said. I said, what do you mean, no? His head's going from side to side. I said, what do you mean? He said, oh, no, I don't mean the dog. The dog is not to blame. I said, the dog's not to blame? I thought he meant it was me. He said, it is that gibbon. A gibbon, he said, very, very disgusting animal. In his own country, he squirts people all the time. It is his way of showing he doesn't like you. I said, bleeding hell. Now he tells me.